In this video, we're going to be talking about the passé composé. The passé composé is a verb tense in French that is used to describe things that happen in the past. Now, there's two verb tenses that you use to describe things in the past. There's the passé composé, and then there's the imparfait, but we're only talking about the passé composé today in this video. So the passé composé is called the passé composé because it is composed. It's made up of two parts. Now, the first part is the helping verb, and the second part is the past participle. You need to have both of these things in order to have passé composé. You cannot have just one or just the other and assume that it's in passé composé because it's not. So, for our helping verbs, there are two possibilities. We're either going to have avoir or être, and this verb is going to be conjugated in the present tense of the subject that you're using for the passé composé. So, if you don't remember how to conjugate avoir or être, you can take a look at my video that I did talking about avoir and être, but we're not going to go over that in this video, okay? We're just going to assume that you watched that and you know what you're doing with avoir and être. So, these are conjugated in present tense. Now, in order to know which one you're going to use, you need to, there's two possible ways that you could know it. One is the house of être, which is something that I put in the files on Canvas. If you're in French 2 or higher, I have that sheet. It's a drawing of a house that has all the verbs on it, or you can remember it through Dr. and Mrs. P. Vandertramp. Now that is an acronym that uses the first letter of all the verbs that use être in passé composé. And that, again, that's something that's in the files in Canvas. Or you can look it up on the web, the internet. People have posted things that say which all those verbs are, but you need to memorize those. So that's the list of verbs that use être and any verb that is reflexive. Reflexive, we remember, means something that you do yourself. And I've got another video talking about reflexive verbs, so I'm not going to talk about that here. I'm just going to focus on our passé composé. So we've got our Dr. and Mrs. P. Vandertramp verbs for the use être, and every other verb uses avoir. Now you can use avoir with some of the verbs that use être, and it changes the meaning, but again, I'm not going to talk about that today in this video. I'm just going to talk about the way that they're regularly used. So that's our helping verb. Now, the past participle for all regular verbs, the way that you form the past participle is for regular IR verbs, you drop the R and just leave the I on the end, and that's the past participle. For regular ER verbs, you drop the R and add an E with an accent aigu over the E. For all regular RE verbs, you drop the RE and add a U on the end. Now again, this is for all regular verbs that end like this. Now for these two specific verbs, they have different past participles. For avoir, it is eu, and for être, it is été. Yes, that looks just like the word for summer, but that is the past participle for être. Now there are a bunch of other verbs that are irregular because we know in French there's always an exception to the rule, and so there's a bunch of other verbs that are not regular that use for the past participle. So I'll give you a partial list a little bit later in this video of them. Probably not all of them, but I'll give you a partial list of some of the most common ones. Now, what you need to remember as you're doing this passé composé is that when a verb uses être for passé composé, you must make the past participle agree with the subject. Now, it's the same way that we do with adjective agreement. Okay, we remember I had a past video on that, so we should all remember how to do adjective agreement, you make it agree the exact same way with the past participle as you do with adjective agreement, adding an E, adding an S, adding an ES on the end of the past participle. So only when it uses être though. If it uses avoir, you do not need to make agreement with the past participle. The past participle just stays the way it is. But if it's a verb that uses être, then you must make agreement with the past participle. So now let's go over my partial list. It's not all the verbs, but it's a vast majority of the ones that are most commonly used up here on the board. So, avoir, the past participle is eu. Être, past participle is été. Pouvoir is pu. Vouloir, voulu. Dire is dit. Écrire is écrit. Lire is lu. Devoir is dû. Savoir is su. Connaître is connu. Boire is bu. Recevoir is reçu. Souffrir is souffert. And ouvrir is ouvert. Like I said, this isn't a comprehensive list. This isn't all the verbs that are irregular that have an irregular past participle, but this is a list of most of the most common verbs used. So this is a good thing to keep, to make reference to as you're trying to do your assessments and get things ready, do your writing assessments and so on and so forth. So if you have any questions about Passe Compose, you can ask me before, after, or during class. You can also make comments below about the video, things that I may have missed or skipped over, things that you would like to know. You can email me as well, and watch this video as many times as you need in order to understand what's going on with Passe Compose. And I will see you in class.